with strings.
What if suddenly you wouldn't be allowed to speak Swedish in Sweden? How would that affect people? What would happen to the person? I sometimes play with that thought, because actually that is what happened to my culture.
68, there were a lot of Jews that were thrown out from Holland, for instance, and they came to Sweden, and then in Poland you didn't speak Yiddish because it wasn't good to be Jewish at all, so they pretended they were not Jews.
When I was growing up, I didn't quite realize what I was missing culturally in my life. You don't quite realize what you have or what you lacked until you actually learned it. I do come from a native Hawaiian family, but none of my family members speak the language, and so I am the first in several generations to have learned it.
Most of the parents who came to Sweden came 45 after the war. They came from the concentration camps. They were rescued and came to Sweden. A few thousand of the Jews, and they settled down here, and most of them spoke Yiddish. And that was a big revival for the Jewish life in Sweden, actually, when they came. There were millions of Jews speaking Yiddish in whole Europe. There were many people in Europe who didn't know any other language than Yiddish. So Yiddish was their mother tongue, Mamelution, as we say. There is a lot of Hebrew in Yiddish, of course. Yiddish contains like 40% German and 40% of Hebrew. And it's also written in with Hebrew letters. And the rest is the language from the country where you live. So you mix, it's a mixture. The language between people coming from different countries. And Yiddish they had in common, so they could speak Yiddish, they could talk to each other. And it was also considered as a language for quite uneducated people. So the people who went to universities and so they didn't speak Yiddish, because they thought it was like a step down. When Israel came, was grounded, they wanted all people who come from all the different countries to have a language together in common. So they forbid Yiddish and created new words in Hebrew, because Hebrew was maybe an old language. Hebrew is a very well-developed language by now. So now they're more friendly to the Yiddish. When my mom died, I realized that I didn't have anyone to speak Yiddish to, which I wanted to, because it's more maybe a feeling that you don't want this disappear, because it was a whole world. There was a lot of movies, a lot of books, and a lot of plays and people, songs. There is a lot of songs that people all over the world know, and they would sing it in the same way. Like, for instance, I met a guy at the airport in Paris, I think, or was it Rome, and he was from Buenos Aires, and we could speak Yiddish, and he started to sing a song that my mom used to sing. So we have something in common that we almost, it was fantastic that people from all over the world actually have the same background. And so we want to keep it alive, we want to keep it living. I went to the circle of Yiddish speakers here in Stockholm, and there I found people who thought the same as I did. We have 3 or 4 members of our group that are a little bit younger, but otherwise we are quite old. So it's difficult to get people interested in learning in a completely different language that they can't use in the everyday life. But we have 3 members in our group that have learned Yiddish very quickly, and they can read and they can write, and I've noticed that they often speak Yiddish to each other when they are together, and which is so nice. Theatre is a very good way to learn a language, to learn culture, to learn your writers, your traditions, how the life was lived before. It's your history, it's your heritage. So that's why I think the theatre is the best way to learn about your background. And what we do is that we have subtitles in Swedish, so that people who don't speak Yiddish can follow. Our first play was about a group of actors looking for a play for them. Actually, we wrote it out of it by ourselves, and it was quite fun, but not very good. Last play we had to play 5 times because people wanted to see it, so we had to do it more. And now we are actually invited to Paris to come and play it, because in Paris there is also a Jewish theatre and they play in Yiddish. It was a very hard job to get it recognized as a minority language. But we are very happy that it happened, because it gave us a lot of opportunities, a lot of support. You know, when you leave your country and you come to another country, then you are never the one that is deciding what is the right thing to say, to do, how to behave. But if I know my native language, I feel more certain about myself. I know who I am, and can say, yes, this is the way we are. And when the World War II were in Europe, they pushed all Jews very down, and people think that they are not worth anything, that they are lower class. And this is a way to stand up for yourself, to tell them that this is what we are, and we are okay. I think so. So Yiddish is a way to be proud of myself.
That hurts my heart to think that there's so many cultures in this world, and mainly indigenous people, where everything has been just, closed. It's like taking the life source out of the culture, and it has just stagnated to something, or even degenerated to something. So we will not be whole humans, we will not be happy until we get back our recognition and self-value as the ones we are, as carriers of our traditions.
I think with language revitalization, it's very much about kind of restoring what was lost in a sense. I would never say it's a waste of time, because I think culture is something that is so rich and invaluable, and it should never be erased from history. If the language is alive, the culture is alive, and Hawaii can prosper as it once did.